I had no idea I had a 15-year-old daughter until the cops arrived at my home. Her mother is sentenced to life in prison, and I'm at a loss for what to do. Hello, everyone. When I was a teenager, I 32 guy dated a woman named Kay. Kay unexpectedly ended our relationship one day, without explaining why. About 15 years later, the cops called my house. To make a long tale short, Kay was pregnant my child 15 years ago. Numerous drug-related allegations were leveled against her. When asked if her daughter could go to any family, she said, "I'm the dad, I have a 15-year-old daughter. With Kay, who will move in with me today after a paternity test. I am not a father. I lack experience as a father and caregiver for teenagers due to my lack of a significant other and only having dogs." She said that Kay was harsh to my daughter and that she will be unaccustomed to structure or being cared for, making it a difficult transition for her after consulting with her social worker. The social worker suggests that I simply love and support her, even if she doesn't want it, and be patient with her. She already has a room at my apartment. To avoid overwhelming her, I kept things simple. Yes, she is arriving today. I am simply searching for support and possibly some guidance. Update. After a few days, I-32 mail revealed on Friday that my 15-year-old daughter was moving in with me. I had no idea she existed until her mother was arrested on multiple drug counts. It's been a huge adjustment for both me and my daughter. When I initially picked her up, I told her that I realized it would take some time for us to adjust to this because it was so new to both of us. I can tell she has a lot of experience. She is not used to eating all the time and is severely underweight. I placed a snack container in her room to prevent her from hiding food that should not be there. Despite the fact that I informed her she could have food from the kitchen whenever she wanted, it has become a snack bin. She looked to take offense to that. On weekends, I have lunch, dinner, and breakfast at the same time, so she knows there will be food. She screams and has nightmares too. Naturally, she has not disclosed their function to me. I'm looking for a therapist for her because while I don't expect her to, whatever happened was painful for her. I was able to get her to open up enough that I could learn a few more positive things about her. She adores my dogs, first and foremost. We went on a walk with them. She is intelligent. He enjoys reading and playing basketball. Naturally, I told her a few details about myself. She is quite reserved and quiet. Given that I am a stranger to her, I expected her to be more reserved. But so far, everything is going great. Update 2. I'm betting many of you saw the post about me. 32 men. I recently found out about my 15-year-old daughter and was granted custody of her. So far, things are going extremely nicely. She was doing her schoolwork in the kitchen today, but when she finished, she began playing with my dogs and left a few papers out before putting them away. "What were they?" I asked. "I just had exams this week," she explained. I asked to see them. "Sure," she responded. Less than 2 weeks into her studies, she had already received A's on 3 tests: geometry, chemistry, and history. Not because I doubt her intelligence, but because I was actually rather impressed. However, she is going through a major life change and has recently begun at a new school. I told her it was excellent and went on to explain how, at her age, I was more interested in sports and friends than in school. She stated, "I like to read and learn, it allows me to escape from life." Then it occurred to me. She utilized it to shift her focus away from her mother's apparently sad life and onto education. Perusing. It makes me sad to think about it. Version 3. I, a 32 million man individual, have been writing a lot on this site recently. In other words, I recently found out the truth and was granted custody of my 15-year-old daughter. I don't know much beyond guesswork, but the poor girl has been through a lot, and her mother was not a great mother. We went out to eat earlier because I was not in the mood to cook. We went out for tacos when I realized that my daughter had never tasted them before. We were conversing informally when a mother came with her 2 tiny girls, both of whom were probably under the age of 10. The 3 daughters were obviously in love with each other, and they were clearly having fun with their mother. My daughter remained calm and stared at them. I said nothing because I didn't want to eavesdrop. She said that she only spoke at random during the drive home. It can be difficult to witness daughters who get along well with their mothers on sometimes. Because my mother and I never did, I am envious. She then began to cry, expressing her desire to be left alone for the rest of the evening. It was painful to see her crying and sad. It's also distressing to realize that, despite my presence in her life and my best efforts as a father, my daughter spent the first 15 years of her life in a toxic atmosphere with her mother, and I have no authority to change that. It is terrible that I am unable to aid her, as she did not deserve to be mistreated and possibly abused. I'm really emotional and very depressed about my baby. A 32 man has said that he recently gained full custody of his 15-year-old daughter, whom he was ignorant of. A little over 2 months had passed. She is really critical of me. To be honest, I have not screamed at her or done anything like. I am aware of what she has been through. To help, both of us are in treatment. She has been arguing and acting rudely all week, beside me. It's been quite challenging. During one of our disagreements, she told me some very intimate information. I will not reveal. However, I'll acknowledge that she had a very rough childhood. I made every effort to pacify her. She appeared to be having a panic attack. She said, "You know, you're pretty good at the whole dad thing for a newbie," as we sat in silence. I told her it had been great being her father. I laughed and thanked her. After a lengthy time, she said, "Thanks, Dad, to be honest, it made my year." I started to cry a little gleefully. Update number 5. A 32 male has published several posts on this site after discovering that I had a teenage kid with a prior girlfriend. In addition, my daughter's mother mistreated her both physically and mentally. She moved in with me after being charged with narcotics. Everything has been running smoothly. At one point, she even addressed me as father. Treatment has tremendously benefited her, and I am currently in therapy to support this big life adjustment. My daughter started having tiredness, weight loss, pallor, and general malaise a little over a month ago. I started taking her to the doctor because I was concerned. I took her to several doctors because, while they were positive it was just a bad cold, it lingered far longer than it should. Recently, someone decided to do some experiments. To be honest, I didn't know what was wrong with her. There were times when I thought I was just a new dad and didn't need to worry about my daughter. We found that she has leukemia today. This poor kid has already faced enough challenges in her life. I am furious. I'm angry. I am afraid. It's not an easy task. I've had family members go through chemotherapy, so I know it'll be mentally and physically exhausting for both of us, especially my poor child. She hasn't responded since we found out this morning. All I want is some positive thoughts, well wishes, and maybe some guidance if you have any. Version 6. I've talked a lot about my daughter on this site. 15 women. I just found out about her when the cops knocked on my door and asked if I could take her in. My daughter was subjected to mental and occasional physical abuse at the hands of her mother, my previous girlfriend. We were starting to get along, and I was just trying to get to know her. She received a leukemia diagnosis a little over a month ago. This poor girl's life has been extremely unfair. She has been taking chemotherapy as an inpatient for nearly a month. It has been challenging. She's releasing her rage on me by remaining silent or verbally attacking me. I haven't discussed much. I can see why she is upset. She is only 15, a sophomore in high school, and she has already seen a lot. She has been chatting with hospital professionals and taking part in online therapy sessions with her therapist. She'll come home in a few days. Hopefully she will be able to relax in her bed. She's going to see my pets, who she adores. It has been mentally exhausting for both of us, but particularly for her. I'm aware that she gained most of her weight while living with me. When she moved in with me, she was pretty underweight. She is not eating right now, despite taking anti-nausea medication. Chemo has made reading more difficult, and she refuses to listen to audiobooks, so she is disappointed that she is unable to read, as it has always helped her feel better. She seemed to be angry and anxious, which explains why I tolerated her irritability. I do, however, tell her how much her remarks bother me. However, I am aware that she is a teenager who has had trauma throughout her life and is currently dealing with a difficult circumstance. Version 7. Hello to everyone. She has granted her assent to this. Here's a photo of my daughter after she got home following a month of inpatient treatment. I am the one who frequently publishes on this site about how I found my daughter, which I was ignorant of. My previous post discussed adjusting to her recent cancer diagnosis. Being able to sleep in her own bed and see our pets again made her happy to be home. I have been reading her books. We started reading the Divergent book series, which is great. I haven't read them before. She felt happier in the hospital than she had since returning home. However, she still finds chemotherapy and illness to be mentally taxing. Not in the same way, of course, but simply because I love her and hate seeing her go through this. Especially after everything she's been through, it's been difficult for me as well. She also frequently verbally expresses her dissatisfaction towards me, which is normal. I understand how difficult it is for her. She is only 15 years old. He has gained a lot of experience. Nevertheless, I just wanted to share a quick update on everything. Update 8. Hello to everyone. A long time has gone. I've written a lot about my 15-year-old daughter, who I only found out about 8 months ago. It's been challenging, especially since she was diagnosed with leukemia, a form of cancer. Despite her struggles with illness, she has shown remarkable strength. I'm really proud of her. She is a really resilient young woman who has been through a lot in her life. For my child, however, a new chapter begins tomorrow. If all goes as planned, she will gain greatly from a stem cell transplant, while it will not be easy. My daughter will finally be able to live the life she deserves. My entire family and I am treating her today because things will be quite difficult for her for the foreseeable future. So please think and feel well for us. In addition, I'd want to thank everyone for their love and support here. Since there has been no news, we must extend our best wishes to a WP.